Hello, welcome to our TED Talk class. Today we will talk about the TED Talk, which name is The Power of Passion and Perseverance. So I repeat it, how to say it. I have a lot of repetition to pronounce that. Let me try again. Perseverance. So what is that? Who can summarize? What is the power of perseverance?
Can I do? Can I summarize the speech?
Please.
So the speaker teach school, and she found out that IQ is not IQ tests, is not also getting higher scores in IQ tests is not the most important thing regarding the results of the exams and all this stuff. So she calls this the quality grit. It's a synonym of perseverance and encouragement, will, commitment, all these words. And that's the point. That's the philosophical stone of all teachers. How to get, how to instill this grit to students. And anybody knows how that yet.
Mm-hmm. You mean that no one knows, right?
No one.
I see. Okay, let's try to find out. We have a lot of teachers here, so let's ask how to do this. So first of all, what is that grit? Is it a correct word or just invented one in the talk? Because it's first time when I meet it.
No, it's a real word. There's a John Wayne movie called True Grit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a real word. It's kind of a slang word. We don't use it in a formal context.
Right.
Grit's
right.
like you got sand in your stomach. You're tough, you know. But it means passion and perseverance. You don't give up. You don't quit. You continue. You're relentless. You never stop, like the Terminator. Okay.
Teacher, it's funny. Why sand? Why in the stomach? Can you explain that? Because you are a boxer back or what?
Some birds can't digest food well, so they will eat sand, and the sand in their stomach will actually grind the food up into small pieces so they can digest it. So we call small pieces of sand grit, and it's rough, so it's used to wear things down into smaller pieces. So if you've got grit in your gut, then you're tough. You can, you know, you can. No, it's just an expression that we use.
I see. Yeah, it's nice explanation. So the small piece of the sand is a grit, right?
Yeah, if something's
Okay.
like sandpaper, if you know sandpaper, it's gritty. It's gritty. It's got little small particles. If your hands, you can get grit on your hands, and you gotta wash your hands. My hands are gritty, small little pieces of sand on your hand. Okay.
I see. Good. Okay, good to know. So it's a synonym of what? Of persistence, of going. How to say it? Going and going without giving up, right? You do before you done. Something like this. Well, what about the main idea of the TED Talk? Do we agree or do we disagree? Diana, do you agree with this? What is it? With this talk?
Well, actually, she admitted that she does not know how to build that grit, actually. So what to do to build it up. I do agree. I don't know either how to do that. But actually, I think I find very curious the fact that talent has nothing to do or very little to do with this grit thing. So, and I think that it is true because I know a lot of examples of people who were not very talented at school. Yeah, so their grades were not very high. So we could tell that their IQ is not really high, so they struggle at school, but later on they became very successful people. So actually, I can agree that success in life and good knowledge at school. So knowledge at school, yes, the ability to learn quick and to remember the facts at school does not mean that the person will be successful in future. So with this part, I agree.
I see. And Diana, you have that thing with USB again. So it's intermittent sound.
No, sorry.
So I have a short story from my life. I was called like talented in my university time, and it always was a problem for me. And my neighbor in the room of dormitory was a guy with a grit one. How to say it? He has a grit. He has grit, maybe. How to say it correct? I don't know. According to this video, and his success was always. He always succeeded more in the study. So I watched that every day, and I cannot disagree with this TED talk. It's all what I watched. It's all what I witnessed. So I agree that talent it's a bad thing. I think that the talent somehow is a bad thing to be persistence, because people. You get relaxed, and people get relaxed about you. They don't teach you in the same way, and it's bad for you. What do you think about that? Is talent is a problem when you a student? Anyone, please.
So what do you mean that having a good potential is bad?
Right. Because it makes you very good on the start, but then you lose something because you don't work so hard as others, and they overcome you eventually. It's what I see all my life. My life. Teacherly, please.
Albert Einstein has a famous quote that genius or success is 1% talent and 99% hard work. Hard work is grit, persistence, perseverance. So he's saying that if you're 99% persistent, you'll be perceived as a genius. So he's saying that persistence is much more important than smartness.
Right. It's what I tried to say it it's what I witnessed in my university, that people who are persistent, they have success. And people who claim it to be talented, they, in many cases, they end up in a bad situation because they think they are talented, they work not really hard, and they fail eventually. It's my story. Okay, let's go to the questions. We have a lot of, but many of them, but many are repeating itself. So let's start from the first one. How would you instill grit into your children? It's a good one. Speaker said that I don't know, but she mentioned that how she said growth mindset. So what is that? How we can describe it? Bashaya, do you know what is growth mindset?
Yes, you mean how to make my children have grit?
Okay, you can answer that.
And, Yes, I think this. We first of all we should treat our friends, our kids kindly, because the children that are treated kindly or softly, I think they are psychologically balanced. So this way they will concentrate on themselves, on their skills, on their learning, and also the parents should learn their children how to be successful, and how to be not to feel that they are inferior than anyone else, and but positively, not with the evil or something bad. So when the children learn how to be successful and not to be inferior than anyone, they will not bear the feeling of fail or being unsuccessful. So I think this way they might feel uncomfortable if they fail in anything, and they will be if they fail in something in life or in school or something like this, they will be persistent and have great, and they will go on and stand again and try again.
Mhm. So what? I don't know what to ask because it's a very common what sayings nowadays. Nowadays we're trying to treat all the students positively, right? No any negative things. Just you did well, you tried well. Something bad, something goes wrong, but you will improve. Something like that. But it was not always so, right? We used to have some negative things. We used to punish people when they do bad and so on. It's working somehow. And I forgot my early experience when I was a young one. But when I was a student in the university, that I know exactly that punishment worked better for me. much better. When I have a deadline, when I have problems in my study, I studied harder. And when people just were touchy with me and said, everything will be bad, just keep trying, I did nothing. So what what do you think? Should we always be so positive on your experience? What do you think? Please, teacher.
I think we have a saying, as you probably know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can tell someone they should have grit, they should persevere, they should never give up, but you can't make them have those characteristics. They have to do it themselves. I think grit depends on your pride. You have to want to do a good job. You have to have passion for what you're doing. You have to believe in it as a goal that needs to be reached. Determination. So if you believe in the goal and you have pride and passion, you will have the necessary perseverance. But you have to believe that in your mind for that to work.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of about motivation, right? If you believe, if you need this goal hard, you will find a way, probably, or not. But if you don't have motivation, perhaps no one will urge you to do that. Diana, what do you think? Do we speak about something related to the talk? No sound, Diana. Perhaps that thing come strike back.
You complained about her static, so she muted. But agree or disagree, everyone? Is it self-motivation mainly, or can someone teach you how to have grit?
I think
Yes, I think so. Yes, I agree with you. Especially because we might find that in the same family you might have a child who has persistent and who wants to be successful, and the other his sister or brother have no characteristic like this. So I think it depends on self persistence or self motivation, not to build this characteristic or this trait in the person. I think it takes out from deep inside the person himself.
Very good point. Let's put it on stack and ask Gerard. Gerard, please.
From my perspective, grit is something that I don't instill to me by force. I don't force to me to have grit. So if I want to learn English, so I feel that I need to learn English and I want to do that and I'm motivated, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be able to do that if I haven't this motivation. Or for instance, I didn't like a sport at all. And when I was 19, I started going to the gym, and then continuously, like a Shane, always I've done a sport activity. So I think in my case, it's something that I assimilate in myself, and it comes out something natural. But I see difficult to instill that someone to do something. I don't know. It's like almost brainwashing. I don't know how could do that. How to put it.
Teacher Lee mentioned a few things like pride, you know, that you have a honor about that. I can do that. We can teach our children that, you know, you can do that easily. And when they fail, you say just, okay, it's okay, just try another way, another time, and maybe it will work. I don't know. Diana, what about yourself now?
I don't know. Tell me.
Yes, fine.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
any thoughts?
Yeah, actually, a lot of thoughts. I just remember one of the TED Talks as well, made by one of the teachers from India who was teaching children in the poorest districts, you know. And one of his experiments was, he was talking about the motivation in education and everything. And one of his experiments told that he tried to encourage grandmothers, he called them grandmothers, so actually elder people who were not teachers, to motivate, not motivate as, you know, we used to think about motivation. Those people just encouraged children. They were just standing behind and telling, wow, I could never think of that. You're so clever. You're wonderful. And that simple things proved to be the most helpful thing for children. They actually figured out all by themselves how to do things, how to use computers without any instruction, in different language, everything, just, you know, just being encouraged with kind words, not instructions, not grades, nothing like that, you know. I think that actually, I've been telling this for a long time now, that our actually system of education everywhere kills this enthusiasm and kills motivation, self-motivation of children. So that's why that I forgot the name of this person, but you can find it on TED Talks. So he's a rather popular guy over there. So he says that grandmas, they can do wonders with those children. We should instill grandmas in the classrooms, and our children will be much better off.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting, because I follow, you know, opposite pattern usually. Usually I say,
I know, because you were taught this way, and I was taught this way, you know, and this is our pattern, which we follow.
mm-hmm.
Punishment, and then okay, or fear of punishment, and then you will do something. But actually, you know, and in Montessori pedagogy, they have the same thought that work should be reward in itself. You know, learning should be a reward in itself. And actually it is like this for young children until they go to school and they start be punished for learning and failing. But it should be the other way around, you know. You should reward them and encourage them, not to punish them for trying something. And then eventually they are too scared to try, you know. They're too scared to get the bad grade. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm. Teacher Lee, please.
We have a saying in English that you may hear sometimes. We usually use it for children, but the saying is try again.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. try again. If at first you don't succeed, try again. So it's trying to instill this grit trait into kids. If you don't succeed the first time, try again. Just keep trying until you succeed. And that is our way, our little saying or philosophy to try to instill grit into kids. To say, if you don't succeed, just try again. And there was some scientist, maybe Einstein, had a quote: if I succeed on the 100th attempt, I didn't fail 99 times. I learned 99 ways that didn't work.
I
So
think it
he's
is
trying to view
Edison's thing.
Edison. Okay, so he's viewing failure in a a positive learning way rather than failure. So it's trying to change your way of thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, Jürgen, what's the pattern used in Swedish in education? What you have? Punishment or this praying? what is in the most case?
Maybe punishment. Oh, I don't know. No idea.
Okay. So, but you know, in my private life with my boys, I don't use punishment like I use punishment. I mean that I sometimes I show that I'm not happy about something and so on. But usually not about the result. I always tell that I don't care too much for result. I care too much for trying. If you did not try, that you mean you lose again. You lose already. So if you did not jump to the pool, you don't know how good it will be. And if you jump badly, it's okay for me. It's enough. It's enough done. So like that. But I see that that even my boys are very different. One of them need to be. I need to talk with them to force him to do something. I totally useless for another one. He just did everything by his own. He already has some motivation. I don't know why, where. But he sees a trampoline and he go and jump without any words, or he don't ask my permission. So like that. So I think it's an internal feature, and I don't think we can succeed too much to adjust this level of persistence. I don't think so. But let's talk again. What is growth mindset, which speaker mentioned? So one way to increase the steerness, or what is it? Persistence. Jart, do you know what is growth mindset?
Yes, it means that we can always learn new things. I think we had a class about that.
Yeah.
Before. So we always can learn.
There is a problem with TED Talks. They all about about one field, about motivation, about learning and stuff. Because that's why they interviews with our past classes all the time. But we have different speakers in different ways, and we can check sometimes. Do we remember something from past classes?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember that. I don't remember what is growth mindset. So it's just a mindset that. Nevertheless, did we fail or did we succeed? We can learn from that, right?
Well, not exactly. So, growth mindset means that your ability to learn is changing. It's not like a constant thing, right? So it is changing. It depends on your effort, actually. So if you, if you are trying harder, so the result will be different. So you understand that, and you actually should understand that it depends on you, what you learn, how you learn, and how you succeed. So it is not like there are some features, some criteria which you have to meet in order to reach success. It's just all in you. So when you understand that everything depends on you and your effort, that means that you can, that means that this is the different mindset, not the set mindset, but growth mindset, open, whatever it is,
But is it possible to believe in that?
Why not?
I don't know. All my life shows different different case. When some lucky cases more significant than all your tries. No. Okay. Let's choose another question. It's Diana's question. What other characteristics besides grit contribute to success? So speaker mostly told us about one. It's a persistence, it's a grit, it's the main one. What is the supporting characteristics to that?
Yeah. Actually, I was when I wrote this question, I was thinking about the talent. That she's. I don't remember, teacher Lee, please remind me how she said that. She said that talent actually like hinders, right? The grit or some. No, I don't remember exactly what was her point there, but.
So what is the relationship between talent and grit in the point of view of speaker, you're asking, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to find.
I got it like it's not related or something like that. I think she said so.
Not related, or sometimes it just hinders the success or something like that. I'm not sure.
It was what I tried to say before, providing my story, because every time when in school or somewhere they tell that I'm talented, it has a bad sequence for me. So I think it's opposite, but I don't know what science said.
I think I can't remember what she said exactly, Diana, but I think talent tends to make a person, because things come to them easily, they don't work hard. They tend to be a little lazy. My children are a prime example. My son is very bright, talented, so he never had to work hard in school. My girl was not that talented, but she had perseverance. So she could keep up with him or even surpass him sometimes because she worked harder. Whereas he was kind of lazy because he didn't have to work hard due to his talent. So he never developed a mentality to work hard. So.
Gerard?
I'm wondering whether grit means forcing yourself to do something that you don't really like, but you think is necessary, or doing something that you are eager to do, that you actually like to do, because you feel inside you that you need to do that and you want to do that. You know the difference? Some people are able to study something that they don't actually like, but they think that will be useful. But if you like to study this subject, it's easier, I think. I think it's a difference.
It's a good question. And I think that the difference is not so big between these ways. When you really eager to do something and when you persistent in doing something because of some motivation, I don't know, internal or external. I can provide an example. Many people in IT industry who wrote the code has a problem. We call it burnout or something like that. Because you do almost the same every day. You write the same code, you burn out quickly. And there is a lot of recepts how to avoid that. And people who burn out, they tend to postpone things, they tend to be work inefficiently and so on. So the recipe for them, just open your code editor every morning, code and start writing something, and you will see that in a few moments you will do that with wishing. just start the work and you will, how to say it, you will sink in your work gradually. So something like that. That's why it's like learning English. When I started to learn English, I have a lot of fails on the start. I cannot say a word. I not succeeded still, but I do that regularly. And I think that when I started that, it wasn't my internal motivation. I just forced myself. a new day, you need to spend, I don't know, half an hour to the study. And I do that again and again, and suddenly I started to find pleasure in that. So I think it's related things, internal and external motivation.
Well, but not many people can do that, Ivan. There are a lot of people who struggle to make themselves do it, even if it is like 15 minutes a day. You need to do that, but you cannot force yourself to do that. You know, people can postpone, I don't know, just exercising, doing exercises, you know, and people who really need to do exercises, they can live without it for decades until it is too late, you know. Okay, it's never too late, but, you know, when the health condition is just critical already, right? So, and how to do that? So I think the grit is a little bit different. So when you, and I understand what Gerard meant, I think I understand, yes? Because when you are doing something that you really enjoy, it is not the same as something that you have to do, you know, like job or some like chores that you have to do. It's different thing. So it is easier to make something enjoyable, you know, like your goal or something you want to reach, right? So it is easier to reach this goal. But if you have to pass your exam, for example, in mathematics, which you hate, how to do that? How to make yourself study for that when you hate something so passionately? I don't know. It is hard. So I can see some of the students at school who struggle, really struggle, you know, and how to motivate them, how to make them persevere. I just don't know.
Of course, I don't know the please. Mm-hmm.
We can look to this point from another perspective. I think that grit can help a talent, but I think talent without grit doesn't work. Just I think that in Egypt there are many examples like this in singers and actors and actresses when they at past time they are we have many successful singers and actors, but I think now you can't find all of them have the same success now, because all of them have talent, but not all of them have great. So those actors who have great and the talent, they are now very successful and persistent and still in their fame. But those people who just have talent but didn't work or didn't still working on themselves, they are no longer successful, or they can't benefit from their talent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that in English there is such sayings, but in Russian we have that. I trying to translate. So in Russian we say that talent in many times is a synonym for fail, like that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, Diana, maybe you can translate it better. So we say that
that's fine. Failure, right? So
yes.
It's a synonym for failure. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I think it's you know, and it's what I think about that. You when you start to rely on your talent, you done. you stop to work and you will fail eventually.
Yeah, but without talent, you cannot be really great. You know, just no matter how hard you work, you know, if you don't have this something special about that, you know, just I'm thinking about. Okay, like the example of Mozart. Can you say that he was successful?
I don't know. I don't know his biography.
No, he wasn't. He died. You know, he was very poor at that time. Yeah, he was kind of famous. Yeah, he was famous and everything, but actually his fame came later, right? And we can appreciate his genius now better than. So he was, you know, Well, and that's like the famous example. Salieri, his counterpart. Can I say counterpart, right? So he had that grit, you know. He was working really hard. He was kind of famous, but now we do not pay so much attention to his works. He had a lot of works, but we do not know them as much as Mozart's, because he had something more than just grit, and he had this genius, he had talent. So probably talent is a good thing as well. We shouldn't say that it is just nothing without, well, it is nothing without hard work, but, well, sometimes it is hard to tell.
But I think Mozart was pushed to work hard because his father pushed him.
Sure, yeah.
From his childhood. I think when he was 4 years old, was able to play many instruments and do many things.
That's true. Yes, yes. But he was very talented. I know other 4-year-olds who can hardly do that, even if they are pushed. You know, you should have something in you. You know.
Okay, and it's an interesting comment, you know, because of point of view, what is success and what is failure. Another personal story, invented one. So let's say that my teacher of geography, for instance, has that I am a total failure because I did not learn anything well. But science, geography, I don't need geography all my life. I think it's a big success that I did not spend time on that.
Right.
Yeah. So when we measuring people by can they learn something or don't learn, I think it's not the way what we should do that measure. Because maybe they just don't need that. You know, I'm not succeeded in my musical education. I not succeeded, but I don't need that. Since I got out from this school, I never played instrument. So maybe it's good that I don't work hard. How to predict that?
Yeah.
So should we push people, you know, in the school? We have a lot of questions about, you know, about local educational systems and patterns and so on. But maybe the problem in our educational systems that we just don't know. Should we force this particular guy to learn math very hard or not? Maybe it's a waste of time for him. Teacher Lee?
I don't think schools have the correct environment to teach grit. They only have the students for a short time. They've got many students. You know, you can have a student rewrite an essay and resubmit it maybe once or twice, but you don't have enough time to devote to one student to instill grit. They've got to get that, I think, from their parents and the way they're raised. My opinion. Yeah.
George?
I think we can't expect that having grit for everything, that some student has grit for everything. We need to find out what his strong points, what he likes. Otherwise, you cannot force someone that likes letters to study science like maths. Maybe, you know, if you are not good at doing something, it's difficult if someone pushes you to do that.
Well, I see the point. So, what is the grit the internal feature that applies to everything? So, you know, if someone says that you have that, does it mean that you have that for everything? For, you know, for cooking, for physical activities, for teaching something, for languages, or it's just in how to say, narrow fields which we are interested in? What do you think, Gerard?
I think we can have grit only to do a few things. Maybe an example of the opposite is, Leonardo da Vinci, that she could do good things in art and in science and many aspects, many fields. But that's not the normal thing. We can have Grit to do some specific things, I think.
Teacher Lee.
Don't confuse grit and talent. Grit is not achieving the goal. Grit is continuing to try to achieve the goal without quitting. I was wondering myself about soldiers. Soldiers are trained. The mission is critical. The mission must be complete. Grit, to me, is something you can apply to anything, any task you are given, if you understand the necessity of it. If I don't do this, there's no consequence. You may not have grit. You may not apply your grit to accomplish that because it's not important to you. But if you know that something absolutely has to be done to save lives, then you'll apply your grit to that task because you know it's important, it's necessary. So to me, grit is something you can selectively apply if you know that something's critical. That's kind of how I view it.
So I think it's just some your ability, some your personal ability. You can apply it to that or to that or to this. Interesting. Sometimes I think it's we call some people like they have a pedantic features. They are pedants. So they just don't. They just cannot do things in different ways that they do everything very scrupulously. And I have seen many such people. I used to work with one of them, and it was a big burden for me because when I did something wrong, in his opinion, he need to redo these things, and I think that he cannot do something with that. It's just internal feature, internal motivation of him, and I think it's kind of.
It's a mental condition, actually, obsessive compulsive disorder, it is called, when the person is obsessively doing something or redoing something scrupulously, as you say, and he can do nothing with it. Yeah, so it's mental condition.
Okay, let it be mental condition. I think it's graduated, it can be very strong and in a, how to say it, bearable way level, something like that. So I think the same we can say about persistence. Some people are persistent. They started something and they probably will finish, if they have enough time. And other people cannot do that. They start something, see a problem, and then resign the task. Teacher Lee, please.
Yeah, I think a key characteristic to understand is that grit is not giving up. Success is not implied. It's just not giving up. We've been trying to cure cancer for decades. We have not been successful, but we keep trying. Year after year after year, grit is what keeps us trying to cure cancer. So having grit and being successful are not the same thing. Grit is continuing to try to be successful, even though you may never be successful.
Right. Good point.
All right.
Gerard?
I believe that we can have grit to do anything. We can have grit to do what we actually like. For instance, a doctor wants to discover a cure, but a doctor won't have grit to be a good cook because he's not motivated to do that and he doesn't want to do that. So I think we can have grit to do some specific things that we actually like. We need to feel that we want to do that,
So, Diana, is grit a mental condition too, or not?
Probably, yes. Well, but actually grit as I found it in a dictionary, this is like the persistence, right? Determination, which makes it possible to do something unpleasant, something which we find difficult to do otherwise. So this is, and that's why what I'm trying to say, when you enjoy doing something, when it is your hobby, you don't need the grit to do that. You have the pleasure, you have the inner motivation because it relaxes you or whatever it is. If it is, so grit, you need grit when you do something unpleasant, when it is necessary for you to do. This task is difficult for you, but you still find, you know, energy, forces, time, and continue doing it. So
not such a good thing,
not
right?
for pleasant things. We need this grit for something unpleasant, for something that we need, you know, I don't know, which maybe not really okay, nice thing, but you cannot do without it. So you have to have it.
Very good, very good. So it can show us another side of this grit, right? So you can do some unpleasant things endlessly and did not succeed, but because of grit, you will suffer for longer, right?
Yeah,
For instance,
exactly. Grit, a very useful thing. Just it prolongs your suffering. Nice.
Right. For instance, I don't know if I ever will be able to pronounce English sounds well, right? But I'm continue, so I can spend this time for something useful. But I do not. I spend it for that. Sharad, please.
So if grit means do something that we don't really like, I think it's not the ideal thing. It's better to instill us to like what we want to do, you know?
Well, actually,
English,
yeah, I understand what you're talking about, but in life, we have different situations, and very often, more often than, you know, pleasant things, we have to do something that we don't really like, right? And we have to continue doing those things, you know. Just a lot of people go to jobs they don't enjoy, you know, but they have to do that to, you know, to earn their living and anything. So this grit can help them, you know, to try to do that, to continue doing something which is not very pleasant for them, which needs this strength or whatever. So I don't know. That's why I thought that grit, we don't usually need it when we are doing something pleasant and nice. So.
But also, grit may turns out unpleasant things to pleasant. You know, you started from doing something and you cannot do that. It's hard, but you do again and again, and you master it, and now you have a pleasure about it. You started like a private grant, and a few years ago you were an officer, and life is changed totally. You know, and you are here in this position because of your grit. Yes, Jacques, please.
And I remember in a school or high school, a subject can be dull or entertaining. That depends on the teacher. The teacher can make it interesting. Like for instance, history. It can be very interesting if the teacher is good and how to explains it well. You know.
It's right. But I think that even a very interesting subject always has some features that's not so interesting. You know, some routines, some numbers, what you need to remember, or some exercises what you need to
a long passage that you need to read and remember and repeat and redo, or, you know, just get ready for the exam, which is not a very pleasant thing to do because it, you know, takes a lot of effort and time and all these things, you know. So there are always, even in the most interesting thing, there are always some details which can be routine, you know, routine things which can be not very interesting for you to do. And here, this grit will come in handy, you know.
Right, because if you don't have any, you just pass, right, and lose the rest.
Yeah.
Lose the rest. But if you have guts to to go through it, and you will see the rest. Okay. So So let's choose some question maybe. Let's choose some unusual one, right? I don't know how it's related to this topic. Explain me, please. What are the advantages and disadvantages of giving homework?
Mhm.
Let me copy the chat. And I can't copy somehow. So let me read again. What are the advantages and disadvantages of giving homework? Maybe it's about this routine, right? Maybe it's about when you need agree to go through this homework, and perhaps the disadvantage is that you can lost interest in the process, lost interest in your students in the process of that. What is advantages? Diana, you're a teacher. Tell us, please.
I don't know. So maybe one of the advantages is to build this grit, just because this sometimes dull work, right? I don't know. I don't believe in what I'm telling you now. So, well, I'm just having a child who hates homework, and I hate homework with her because it spoils our relationship as a mother and daughter relationship with, so that is why, I don't know, probably for a child, homework is useful somehow, but for a parent and a child and for their relationship, it's a really harmful thing because you got really emotional. Me, for example, I'm really emotional. As for her homework, that's why it's not very good for our relationship.
Yes, but it's simple. They just do you in charge of this homework, right? Instantly. So you have to watch, and you.
Yes, I have to.
And you change your position without your, I don't know, agreement, right? So
That's
when teacher gives a lot of homework to my son and make me in charge, just tell me, please check that everything will be done.
Make sure it is done.
Yes. Now I'm a sergeant. I have to force him every day before we finish that, until we finish that. So it's unpleasant. I understand. But also I understand that when I was a student, I learned mostly from homework, not from the class time. What do you think about that? Is it possible to learn only in class time? Teacher, what do you think?
I tell you, I didn't really think about it until just now, but homework, if normally homework you turn in to the teacher. So homework is not really for the student. Homework is for the teacher to have some students work to evaluate the student's understanding. The teacher can't do that in class. So if you do some work at home and give it to the teacher, it doesn't help you learn, but now the teacher's got something to look at to see if you did the homework correctly. So homework is really for the teacher to assess your understanding. It's not really for the student to learn at home. It's not really its purpose, I don't think. You agree, Diana?
Well, probably you're right, but I don't know. Sometimes this homework is just look through and actually nothing comes out of it. Okay, you just got your grade and that's it. So if it is for teacher to know how the student understands, there should be some consequences, right? Like something which teacher can explain or whatever. But here it is like this. Okay, you're doing your homework, and then next class you are going to do something else, different thing.
Yeah,
there is no follow-up.
Yeah, the homework should be turned into the teacher and graded and returned to the student. Then it becomes an evaluation feedback mechanism. But if that's not done,
right,
homework is a waste of time.
That's no point. That's why, when I'm thinking about those flip classrooms, flip classes, flip lessons, or whatever it is. So when they do it like the different way. So at home, children got this like a lecture, like a video from a teacher, kind of a class, what they should do, supposed to do in classroom. So they get to the classroom prepared kind of for the theory of this. And then in class with the teacher, with his help, they are doing a lot of exercises. In this way, they are training what they have learned at home, you know, from the video the teacher provided. And then in classroom, they have a lot of practice. And then the teacher can see how students understood the topic, and he can give this feedback right there, you know, during the lesson. And in such a way, they say that it is much better, the results are much better.
Okay, let me add my 2 cents to that, because I think about this different, really different. Even if my homeworks will not ever check it, I think that there are a lot of value in that. Because, you know, when you in the class, you can hide to someone other back. Someone can answer, and you can just pass some knowledge. You can just skip it. It's possible many times. And I used to study in the university, which provided only remote, remote teaching. You know, when I was young, I had a homework each week, and I put it in the letter and send it back. And they provide me homework and the materials to study. Without homework, without exercises, I will never understand these materials, even if I read them. So usually for me, it's like that. I read some material, I think I understand it. Then I have to solve a task. And then I understand that I don't understand anything. And I need to read again, and read again and again, before I really can do something practical. So I think, and nobody, and still nobody checked it. At this point, I just use it in my education like this. So I think that homework is really important, at least in my education.
Well, it is important if you get this feedback. If you don't, it's just waste of time. So the feedback is the most important thing.
Yeah, again, look at the situation. So I have a book and I have a task to solve. I read the book, I think that I understand everything. I started to solve the task, and I understand the problem now, only now.
Okay, yes, I understand that. I know how it works. I know.
Yes.
But okay, if your homework is not checked, is not reviewed, and you don't understand, and the teacher will not, is not giving you his feedback, how do you know that you are correct?
Because in math it's simple, you know.
Okay.
So if you can go through to the answer and check the answer,
you have the keys, right? You have the keys, or if it is the number in the key. Okay, I got it, right.
If the homework has answers in the book so you can check yourself, it has value. But if it's homework that you don't know the answers and the teacher doesn't grade it, like you say, you don't know if you did it right. So it's useless in that case. Yeah.
So no consensus, right? We don't know. Is it useful or not? Okay.
But actually, there was no right answer in the TED Talk. So how can we come to this consensus, right? So nobody knows the answer.
I think this TED Talk was not about answers. It just was a short question.
Yes, it was about the questions. Again, we're without homework. Our homework is not checked. You see, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, but we started. Okay, but we started to discuss. You know, we discovered some things. Jürgen, please.
I think this TED Talk was encouraging for me learning English.
Encouraging, that's good.
Encouraging,
Yep, nice.
So it was useful, right? In somehow. So I see that our time is over. And it's good that we can make this, you know, about this short TED Talk. I'm happy for that. Because there was actually only one question. So thank you for coming. See you tomorrow, right?
Thank you.
Movie class.
Thank you.
Blade Runner, all the things. Be prepared. We already have the Padlet and all the pictures.
Okay, cool. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Don't forget to save the chat, Ivan.